Even Silas had lost to Grey Gowl. If Dustin could cut Grey Gowl down with a single strike, didn't that mean he was more powerful than Silas? The two ladies couldn't help feeling embarrassed for their rude words earlier. They never thought they'd be looking down on someone far stronger than them. I knew he was powerful. Abigail jumped excitedly. He's awesome. Ruth's eyes twinkled, just as in awe of the man as Abigail was. That's my man. Natasha smirked proudly. She'd been worried when she saw Grey Gowl's attack. Fortunately, Dustin was strong enough to come out of it unscathed. After a few seconds, Grey Gowl's decapitated body gradually toppled to the floor with a thud. It caused a cloud of dust to rise into the air. Grey Gowl, the group of masked killers exclaimed furiously. They never imagined that this invincible man would meet his demise so suddenly. How dare you kill him? You're dead meat. Everyone, we shall wipe out the Harmon family to avenge Grey Gowl. Battle cries echoed as each of the masked killers fished out a black ball and smashed it into the ground. One by one, the balls burst apart on impact, and black fog wafted into the air. Watch out for the poison, one of the martial artists cried out. Everyone else immediately paled. They covered their mouths and noses frightfully. Natasha, lead everyone out of here. I'll take care of this. Dustin swung his sword. A burst of light parted the poisonous gas, drawing a safe path. Hurry up. Natasha hurriedly gathered Mr. Robinson and the rest and ran out. She knew that they'd only be a burden to Dustin if they stayed behind. Silas, we should run too. Ivy and Maria quickly lifted Silas and followed Natasha. With their current condition, their best bet was to run away to stay alive. As soon as they walked out of the door, the poisonous gas engulfed the room once more. Several martial artists tried to run away but were swallowed by the gas and began wailing in anguish. By the time they emerged, those people's skins had begun to rot. Pus oozed from their skin, and blood trickled out of their mouths. They were going to die soon. Go after them. Don't let them get away. Two of the masked killers went after Natasha and the others. However, before they could even get past the door, a flash of light sliced their heads off cleanly. I'm your opponent. Dustin stood in front of the door regally, holding a broken sword. Even the poisonous gas seemed afraid to go near him. Kill him. We need to avenge Grey Gowl. With a loud cry, the killers charged toward Dustin. They utilized everything from weapons to poison and curses. None of you will escape today, Dustin humphed before joining the fray, starting the bloody battle. Meanwhile, in the gardens, Natasha and everyone else were running in the blizzard. They left trails of footprints on the snowy ground. None of them seemed to have caught up to us. We should be safe now. Ruth was panting after running for so long. Ms. Natasha, Silas has been severely injured. We need to stop somewhere safe and treat his wounds as soon as possible, Ivy said. Natasha turned and saw Silas, who was as white as a sheet. He was struggling to keep himself upright. Let's go to the meeting room. Our elite guards are having a meeting there. She immediately decided. Let's go. Just as everyone began to move, a bunch of large, round men emerged from the bushes. They were led by Marlon Cobb. Hello there, darlings. Where are you guys heading? Marlon smirked as he gave the ladies a look. Over. Marlon, why aren't you helping when someone has infiltrated the place? Natasha yelled. Help. Well, rather than hustling with those people, I'd much rather hustle with you girls. Marlon wore a sickening grin. How dare you? Silas exploded. Marlon, you better scram, or I'll mess you up. You. Marlon sneered. I might be afraid if you were uninjured, but you can't even save yourself right now. How are you going to fight me? I might be injured, but I can still get rid of you. Silas snarled. Really? Well, let's see how strong you are now. Marlon suddenly threw a punch. You. Silas tried to stop the other man, but his movements only aggravated his injuries. He began to vomit blood, then collapsed. I haven't even touched you yet. What a loser. Marlon sneered. You better not play around, Marlon. The invincible guardians won't let you off the hook. Ivy yelled. If I kill all of you, how would others know? Marlon retorted, unfazed by her threat. You wouldn't. Maria glared. But we'll definitely have some fun before killing you guys. Marlon sneered viciously before signaling to his men. What are you guys waiting for? Hurry up, the two chicks from the Invincible Guardians have been waiting for so long. Thanks, Marlon. His subordinates immediately lunged toward Ivy and Maria. Let's give it our all. The two ladies gritted their teeth and faced the men's attacks head-on. However, they were quickly subdued and forced to the ground. Although they were skilled fighters, they weren't able to use their full strength due to their injuries. Eventually, they lost. We're coming, darlings, the men sneered. They yanked at the ladies' clothes. Maria and Ivy shrieked in terror. They had never experienced something like this in their lives. Stop! Silas roared. He was powerless to do anything. He could only watch those men put their dirty hands on his allies. Stop, you fucking mongrels, Abigail yelled. She could not stand the sight of Ivy and Maria being assaulted by those beasts any longer. Or, don't rush us, darling. You'll get your turn after we're done with these two. The men grinned sickeningly. Their predatory gazes were glued to Abigail. You're taking things too far. Abigail was furious and unsheathed her dagger. She charged toward the men. The men were taken off guard. They couldn't steer clear of her attacks quickly enough. Her blade left several cuts on them as they jerked backward. How dare you interrupt our fun? We'll fuck you first. The men were pissed. They were about to draw their swords, but Marlon stopped them. Whoa, how can you guys treat a lady like that? He approached Abigail with a small smile. Honey, you should queue up if you want your turn with us. Fuck off, or you're dead. Abigail threatened. Or, don't be like that. I mean no harm. Just hand me that dagger. It's too dangerous for you. Marlon smiled and extended his hand. Fuck off. Abigail swung her arm. The sharp edge of her blade left a gash on Marlon's palm. Marlon's smile hardened, and his face darkened. There's a limit to my patience. You should be grateful for my offer. Abigail, don't be reckless. Mr. Robinson hurried over. He put himself in front of his daughter, smiling apologetically. Sir, my daughter is young and foolish. Please forgive her. Forgive her. Marlon sneered. She cut me just now, so what should we do now? W will pay. Mr. Robinson withdrew the $20 million check he had gotten from Felix earlier. He carefully handed it over to Marlon. Not too shabby. Marlon accepted the check and stuffed it into his pocket. Since we've already paid for your injuries, could we leave now? Mr. Robinson smiled sheepishly. Leave? Who said anything about leaving? Marlon smirked. Did you think $20 million would be enough? What do you take me for? Sir, we should take care of this issue peacefully. Let's be forgiving and understanding when necessary. Mr. Robinson lowered his head. I don't mind letting you guys go, but you'll have to please me first. Marlon pointed at his shoe and ordered, my shoe has gotten a little dirty. Kneel and clean it. Hey, you better not go overboard. Abigail snapped. Dying with dignity was much better than enduring humiliation. Being forced to kneel and clean someone's shoe was nothing short of humiliating. I'm not forcing you to clean it. Marlon shrugged. I'll do it. Mr. Robinson nodded repeatedly. Then, he fell to his knees. What are you doing, Dad? Get up. Abigail frowned. It's fine. It'll be over in a second. Mr. Robinson smiled sheepishly. He rolled up his sleeves and began carefully cleaning Marlon's shoe. You. Abigail's blood boiled. She didn't understand how her father could be such a huge coward. You sure are a wonderful pet. Marlon smiled and patted Mr. Robinson's head. Sir, your shoe is clean now. Why don't you take a look? Mr. Robinson lifted his head and forced a smile. But, he remained where he was. Good job. You can leave now. Marlon nodded with a smile. Thank you, sir. Mr. Robinson beamed and grabbed his daughter's hand. Let's go, Abigail.